First, just congrats to Coach Gundy and his staff and his players and all those guys who worked their butts off to have a great season. I imagine one of the best in the history of our football program, and so we're all proud of them and wish them well in the Fiesta Bowl, and we'll be cheering for them. So, congrats to all those guys who helped elevate the national profile of that program this year. When I think coming into the year there wasn't that expectation, so it was awesome to see. As it relates to our game, certainly disappointed in the result. Told our guys that we don't do moral victories by any stretch. We did lose to a good team today, and we showed some fight today, better than we did the other night in many areas, particularly on the offensive end. We just didn't make shots at the high enough level. And when I say not make shots, I'm talking about in times where we needed to crunch shots, shots that kind of under duress. And that I think it was maybe the 10-minute to 5-minute mark in the second half. I have to kind of go back and check, but we just struggled to get great looks, and a lot of that had to do with them and their defense. But some of it was just self-inflicted turnovers, or not moving the ball well enough, or whatever it was. But as I look over the stat sheet, we made more field goals than they did, and more threes. And obviously they kicked us at the free throw line and on the glass. So we got a lot of work to do. This team's got a long way to go. There's a lot of season left. We know that, but we got to get more consistent play throughout the roster.
I was going to ask you, the last 3 games have been particularly tough opponents with ORU and Wichita State and Xavier. Do you have a better sense of your team and where it's headed at this point after these 3 games?
I really believe so. I actually told our team, losing sucks, and while I'm not trying to make it a good loss, right? I also don't ignore progress. Avery Anderson's playing better than he was 2 weeks ago. That's good for our team. Maybe we found something in Woody Newton that our team needs. A guy his size that can maybe be a shot maker for us. And so there are some positive things to take out of. It's hard to really highlight those things when you didn't get the job done. So there was some progress, not great progress. Ultimate progress is winning the game. I get that. But I'm not going to ignore that, we still have a talented team, and that we're, 3 possessions away from, maybe being 8-1.
Sorry, go ahead.
You took 26 threes tonight, and obviously trying to come back at the end, that number might be a little inflated, but is that a number you're comfortable with, you're good with?
It probably sounds crazy to say that I am, but I am. I mean, and I told the guys this at halftime because it happened in the first half. I think 1K drove the ball on the right side of the floor and kicked the ball to Avery, and he was wide open for a shot. And he didn't shoot it, and it resulted in a turnover. And I need him to take the shot that's open and not try to. The play was already made. He doesn't need to remake the play. And I think if we take more of those kind of shots, our percentage will go up. And so we do need more 3-point production. We got to make sure that the right guys will take them.
You mentioned Woody, kind of what led to him getting in. He hadn't gotten in since the Charleston game.
Obviously we're struggling. Bryce Thompson, Rondell Walker, and Keelan Boone all were out for a variety of reasons and couldn't go. And I've been wrestling with the idea of trying to figure out how to get Woody in a real game situation like this today. And today the opportunity presented itself, and I'm glad he showed he was ready. And it's more than the shot making. He's a pretty smart guy, pretty high basketball IQ. And what he showed today was what he showed to give me some confidence that he could help us. Was he dove on the floor for 2 loose balls that were huge, and giving us a chance to come back in today's game. And I've always rewarded that type of effort, and it's something that he's learning to do. And that's been his struggle. He hasn't played that way. You don't have to do that when you stand in the zone for however many minutes you play. And so learning how to play in our style is something he's had to adjust to. And, I think it may be something that we can build on from today.
It seemed like Bryce Thompson got shaken up a little bit. Did those other 2 also? You mentioned Keelan Boone and Rondell.
Yeah, Keelan's got, I think Bryce Thompson's a hip. I think Keelan Boone's a back, and Rondell was dealing with just some stomach issues.
You have a long break. Do you see any of those injuries carrying over past the break before the next game, or?
Yeah, I don't play doctor, so we got a great medical team, great trainer in Kevin Blasky. When we are ready to practice again, I'll practice the guys that he tells me are available, and beyond that, I don't speculate or guess or anything. I just, when guys are ready, they practice, and when they're ready to practice, they have an opportunity to play.
Does this break come at a good time for you? You think?
I don't know. I mean, it's always two ways to look at it, right? Do we need to just find our way out of this thing right now? May not be bad to not have to sit around on a 2-game losing streak. But we got guys banged up too. So probably give us a chance to maybe get a little bit more mended. And for our staff to figure out some things from a schematic standpoint that we can do better. So I do think it can be beneficial to have some time to practice. I mean, that's the challenge when you get into playing games in succession like we have, is you kind of have to compromise a little bit in the things that you're adjusting and the things that you're putting in, because you got to get ready for the game. And so that always takes precedence over, it's different than football, right? We don't have just every week we know we got a week to figure out, all right, we'll take these 2 days and work on us and these 2 days and work on them. For us, you play Wednesday, you take off Thursday because you have to, and then Friday, Saturday, you're really in prep mode again. So this week and a half, or however long it is, 2 most important things. One is that they take care of their final exams, because that is the most important thing that we do here, is make sure these guys put themselves in position to get their degrees, but then that we get better as a team as well.
When Ice was in here, he talked about kind of the pattern of teams not really playing that much zone until they face you all and then doing it. And he said that he thinks the coaches you all have good schemes in place. It's just kind of a matter of him and his teammates taking responsibility. What do you think is kind of the key going forward after seeing that happen again?
So Xavier played their first possessions of zone of the season today. I watched every game that they played before today, and I'm not surprised, right? Coaches watch film just like we do, and they prepare just like we do. And if I were coaching against us, if I didn't play much zone, I probably would give it a look as well. Part of it, I think, is a confidence deal, right? When you haven't had success doing something, you need to have some success to believe that it's not going to be the ultimate, kryptonite for you. And that hasn't happened yet. And so we got to keep working at it. This week will give us a chance to kind of figure some things out and maybe figure out some lineups that may be a little bit better versus the zone than we have been so far.
Your 3 centers each finished with 4 fouls. They shot a ridiculous amount of free throws. Kind of what went into that?
That's the game. I mean, I guess, I don't know if you guys have ever heard me come in here and talk about officials, so I'm not going to start that yet. No, I hope not ever. The game was physical both ways, and maybe they were a little bit better at it than we were.
Month of December is a pretty tough schedule for you guys. You only play 5 games, and it's probably pretty tough amount of conference games, especially looking forward to Cleveland State, USC, and Houston. So where do you guys kind of prep? What's your prep like going into this? Not only that hard schedule, but especially coming off of a 2-loss streak.
Again, the mission is always the same. The non-conference schedule in my mind is to prepare us for conference play. And you want to win as many of those games as possible. And losing sucks every time it happens, no matter who the opponent is. But that doesn't change the mission. It's that we got to keep getting better. And we need to see as much as we can before January 1. And the schedule doesn't get easier. The next team we play is really good. I know that coach really well. They went to the tournament last year. He's been 2-time coach of the year in that league. And they're going to come in here, and they don't play much zone. They'll probably play some zone. And we got to figure it out. That's what we got to do. We got to figure it out. That's what you do in this deal. You don't hang your head. You don't feel sorry for yourself. You don't ask for sympathy. You show up like a big boy. You take care of your exams, and you come to practice and try to get ready to get better.
He may have played, I think, 5 minutes. Was that injury related, or did he just not have it tonight?
Nah, I mean, obviously I changed the lineup a little bit. We try to get a little bit more offensive spacing, flow. It's been a challenge with him, Musa, and Ice in a lot together, especially to start games. Their games don't necessarily complement one another at the same time. Not all three of them, because it's just not space. And then Avery's also a driver, and BT likes to play through. So you put another shooter in there, and I was hoping to do it with Keelan. And then, I thought to see how his back would go, so we went with Rondell early, and that's just what you do. We're still trying to figure ourselves out right now.
Avery, you mentioned earlier, he scored well the other night, but had 6 turnovers. He only had 2 tonight. Obviously, scored a lot. Is it nice to see that he's kind of building on his good season so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think I told you guys, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, whenever it was, that he started. Like, I don't worry about guys who work. I just don't. Work wins, and that kid works as hard as anybody I've ever been around, and he's got a high level of care for winning. And so he's coachable. He's a great teammate, and I know he's going to compete his butt off. And he's not going to always be 10 for 18 with 26 and 3 assists and 5 rebounds. Some nights he's going to be 2 for 12 and have 5 turnovers. That's part of the ebbs and flow of the game, and his averages will ultimately be what they're supposed to be because he's a really good player.
Anything else?